Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Caitanya-śikṣāmṛta class given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on December 6, 2024 in Sri Māyāpur, India.
Pangun Langayate Girim Sri Gurum Dhinatharinam Sri Caitanya-śikṣāmṛta Hari Om Tat Sat.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we will continue with the reading from Sri Caitanya-śikṣāmṛta by Srila Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Shuddha Jnana, pure knowledge. To analyze pure knowledge in detail will require a large volume, and the primary purpose of examining this eternal religion of the soul would be overshadowed. Therefore, we will briefly examine pure knowledge. As mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 29, verses 49 to 51, your only activity should be those that can please the personality of Godhead. Our education should be such that we can become elevated to Krishna consciousness. Sri Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the super soul and the guide of all living entities who have accepted material bodies within the world. He is the supreme controller of all material activities in material nature. He is also our best friend, and everyone should take shelter of his lotus feet. In doing so, one's life will be auspicious. One who is engaged in devotional service has not the least fear in the material existence. This is because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the super soul and friend of everyone. One who knows this secret is actually educated, and one thus educated can become the spiritual master of the world. One who's an actually bona fide spiritual master, representative of Krishna, is not different from Krishna.
So, we rise up, and the last stage is pure knowledge.
What's that, Gurmaharaj?
I can't hear it.
No. I lost it.
The last stage of knowledge is pure knowledge.
So, the last stage of knowledge is pure knowledge.
And pure knowledge is very confidential.
And pure knowledge is very confidential.
When you get the pure knowledge by the mercy of Krishna.
And one can get the pure knowledge by the mercy of Krishna.
So, we should take the blessings of Krishna.
So we should take the blessings of Lord Krishna,
Since He is all merciful.
since He is all merciful.
And as our true friend, He can reveal pure knowledge to us.
And as our true friend, He can reveal real knowledge to us. Pure knowledge manifests in 5 types of realizations as follows. Okay. It's been explained. Okay. The first one is Parishanubhava, realization of the Supreme Lord. Parishanubhava is of three kinds. The first one is Brahmanubhava, realization of Brahman. Paramatma-anubhava, realization of Supersoul. And Bhagavat Anubhava, realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5:12-11. What then is the ultimate truth? The answer is that non-dual knowledge is the ultimate truth. It's devoid of the contamination of material qualities. It gives us liberation. It is one without a second, all-pervading beyond imagination. The first realization of that knowledge is Brahman. Then Paramatma, the Supersoul, is realized by the yogis who try to see him without grievance. This is the second stage of realization. Finally, full realization is the same supreme knowledge is realized in the Supreme Person. All learned scholars describe the Supreme Person as Vasudeva, the cause of Brahman, Paramatma, and others.
So in the Bhagavat first canto, it says that Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan.
So in the Bhagavad, in the first canto, it says there is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan.
So one can realize Brahman by Jnana Yoga.
So one can realize Brahman by Jnana Yoga.
One can realize the Paramatma by Ashtanga Yoga.
And one can realize the Paramatma by Ashtanga Yoga.
But the only way to realize Krishna is by Bhakti Yoga.
But the only way to realize Krishna is by Bhakti Yoga.
So, Bhakti Yoga shows us the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So Bhakti Yoga shows us the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
And so, one of Krishna's form, which creates Paramatma, is Vasudeva.
One of Krishna's form which creates Brahman and Paramatma is Vasudeva.
Vasudeva means pure goodness.
Vasudeva means pure goodness.
Krishna is beyond imagination.
Krishna is beyond imagination.
Even if you try to imagine Krishna, it's not possible.
Even if you try to imagine Krishna, it's not possible.
Somehow, the yogis were able to see Krishna.
Somehow, the gopis were able to see Krishna.
They cursed Brahmadev. They cursed
They cursed Lord Brahma
because he made eyelashes with the eyes.
So he made eyelashes with the
eyes.
eyes.
And they would want to see Krishna uninterruptedly, the closing of their eyes.
So they wanted to see Krishna uninterruptedly, but the closing of their eyes blocked that.
So we don't think of that very seriously.
So we don't think of that very seriously.
But the gopis, because they were so much absorbed in seeing Krishna,
The gopis, because they were so much absorbed in seeing Krishna,
that even the blinking of the eyes was too much for them.
that even the blinking of the eyes were too much for them. Brahmanubhava. Realization of Brahman. One can refer to the impersonal aspect of the Supreme that is opposite to all specific material thoughts as Brahman. The Supreme Truth, Paresha Tattva, is self-manifest in all respects. For the soul engaged in the pursuit of knowledge, this realization of the Supreme appears in three previously mentioned forms: Brahmanubhava, realization of Brahman; Paramatmanubhava, realization of the Supersoul; and Bhagavat Anubhava, realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When one meditates deeply, the impersonal aspect of the Supreme that emerges in the absence of the dualistic thoughts is known as Brahman. However, this is not eternally perfect form of the Supreme. If contemplative individuals are not affected by the fault of Advaita, non-dualism, then through this method they may somewhat understand the relationship with the Supreme. Although this can be called as a realization of the Supreme Paresha Anubhava, it is very slight and does not ultimately lead one to supreme bliss. Some degree of rati may be engaged in it, but in the absence of relationship, there is no possibility of nurturing that rati. Great souls like Sanaka and others are exemplified as being attached to this rati and taking shelter in Shantarati.
So, some of the great sages realize this aspect of Krishna.
So some of the great sages realized this aspect of Krishna,
And that's his four Kumars.
and it mentions the four Kumaras.
They had this realization,
They had this realization,
and they were very attached to this.
and they were very attached to this.
They bowed down to Krishna.
When they bowed down to Krishna,
They smelled tulsi flowers all at Krishna's lotus feet.
they smelled the tulsi flowers offered at Krishna's lotus feet.
This produced ecstasy in them.
And this produced ecstasy in them.
So that was they're entering into a kind of rati.
So that was their entering into a kind of rati.
That's when they surpassed Brahmanubhava.
That's when they surpassed Brahmanubhava.
Now,
Now,
didn't have any specific relationship.
But they didn't have any specific relationship.
Raja, Sakya, Kandala,
Vatsalya.
Salya, Kandala.
So they didn't have dasya, sakya, parental love, vatsalya, and conjugal, madhurya relationships.
So the relationship couldn't progress much.
So their relationship couldn't progress much.
Like Shantarasa.
They were like in Shantarasa.
So Bhakti-Thakur is saying how this can be realization of the Supreme Personality Godhead.
So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains how this can be the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
He called it very slight.
He calls this as very slight realization. Alpo, slight. Very slight. Is this okay?
Since they have no relationship, it's not possible to really nurture that rati.
So since they don't have a relationship, so it's possible for them, it's not possible for them to take shelter in rati, to nurture their rati. Paramatma Anubhava. Okay. Paramatma Anubhava, realization of the Super Soul. Again, and Paramatma Anubhava is the second type of realization of the Supreme. In the highest stage of the third type of knowledge, which is the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, the realization of Paramatma, Super Soul emerges. The Paramatma, who is the giver of the results of all actions to the conditioned souls and the doer of all actions in the world, is the aspect of the Supreme, entering and pervading the universe. In practices like Ashtanga Yoga, the meditation on the Supreme is specifically an imaginary or real avatara of the Paramatma. In the scriptures, this aspect is referred to as the Purusha.
Those who practice Ashtanga Yoga,
So those who practice Ashtanga Yoga,
they realize the Lord as a super soul.
they realize the Lord as the Super Soul.
And this takes you a little closer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
And this takes one a little closer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So, every one of you have got Paramatma in your heart.
So every one of you have got Paramatma in your heart.
And He is the one that benedicts you to succeed in your material desires.
So He's the one who gives the benediction to succeed any of our material desires. Two manifestations of Paramatma, individual, Vyasti, and collective, Samashti. The Paramatma manifests in two ways, individually, Vyasti, and collectively, Samashti. Through collective manifestation, he is the Virat Purusha, the universal form. Through individual manifestation, he is the companion of the living beings residing in their hearts as thumb-sized Purusha. In the path of karma, if the intentions towards the real Supreme Lord, then the performer of action is a worshipper of the Paramatma. Just in the highest stage of thought, one meets the Brahman to be worshipped. Similarly, in the highest stage of action, one meets Paramatma to be worshipped.
So, in order to meet the Supreme Lord,
So, in order to meet the Supreme Lord,
one offers his actions to Krishna.
one offers his actions to Krishna.
He accompanies us
He accompanies us
through the different births.
through the different births.
Uh, so we can realize Krishna
So that we can realize Krishna
to
some extent.
And so one can perform a meditation on Krishna as the Super Soul.
So one can perform their meditation on Krishna as the Super Soul.
So he realizes everything you're doing.
So he realizes everything we are doing.
And he rewards you the
He rewards you
action.
the actions, results of your action.
So all we're trying to realize the Super Soul.
So while we are trying to realize the Super Soul,
We see how he rewards us with different roots of our activity.
how he rewards us the different roots of our activities. Bhagavad Anubhava, realization of the personality of God. Bhagavad Anubhava, realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Anubhava is the third and highest realization of the Supreme. As mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.12, Jnanam yat aprati nivritta gunodmi chakram atma prasada uta yatra guneshva sangha kaivalya sammata patastavatha bhakti yoga ko nivrito harikatha suratim na kuryat. Transcendental knowledge in relation with the Supreme Lord Hari is knowledge resulting in the complete suspension of the waves of whirlpools of material modes. Such knowledge is self-satisfying due to its being free from material attachment, and being transcendental it is approved by authorities. Who could fail to be attracted? As mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.31 to 33, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, knowledge about me as described in the scriptures is very confidential, and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. All of me, namely my actual eternal form, my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization. out of my causeless mercy. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after the annihilation, what remains will also be me, will also be I, the personality of Godhead.
So Krishna exists before the creation, during the creation, after the annihilation.
So Krishna exists before the creation, during the creation, and after the annihilation.
So Lord Brahma, he's trying to figure out what's the universe.
So Lord Brahma is trying to figure out what's the universe.
What Krishna is revealing to him.
What Lord Krishna is revealing to him.
So he realizes that before the creation there was only Krishna.
He realizes that before the creation, there's only Lord Krishna.
Creation
And he's there during the creation.
was Krishna.
It's Lord Krishna.
After the annihilation, there's only Krishna.
And after the annihilation, there's only Lord Krishna.
So Krishna is the eternal truth.
So Lord Krishna is the eternal truth.
And so he's revealing this to Lord Brahma.
So he is revealing this to Lord Brahma.
Coming in the Brahma Sampradaya.
So we are coming in the Brahma Sampradaya.
He handed down his knowledge to Narmani, Yasdev, Madhvacharya.
So he handed down his knowledge to Narada Muni, then to Vyasadeva, then to Madhvacharya.
Haribo!
Haribol!
In the Brahma Sampradaya,
So we are coming in the Brahma Sampradaya.
he has revealed the confidential knowledge to Lord Brahma.
So he has revealed the confidential knowledge to Lord Brahma.
Now you all have it.
Now you all have it. Haribo, Haribo. Guru Maharaj ki jai. No, 8:15. The Supreme Truth, Paresha Tattva, with Swarup Vishishta, the form with specific characteristics, is omnipotent and the repository of all qualities. Is Bhagavan, repository of all qualities of Bhagavan. From the fundamental perspective, there is no independent entity apart from Bhagavan.
So, position of the Supreme Personality Godhead is completely independent.
So the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is he is completely independent.
He creates everything.
So he creates everything.
Everything is part of him.
Everything is a part of him.
So, understanding about Krishna is very important.
So understanding about Lord Krishna is very important.
His activities, his qualities,
His activities, his qualities,
everyone else owes their existence to Bhagavan.
Everybody owns their existence to Lord to Bhagavan.
Hello,
Hari Bol.
just like you have mother and father.
Just like you have mother and father.
They have a mother and father.
Everyone has mother and father.
So, actually, Krishna existed before everyone.
But actually Krishna existed before everyone.
So, he is actually independent.
So he's actually independent.
But his Leela include that he may come.
What's that?
His Leela includes
Okay.
his appearance.
So his Leela includes his appearance.
But actually, that's just a Leela.
But actually that's just a Leela.
Know that Brahma is the first entity.
Actually Lord Brahma is the first living entity.
All these Vishnu avatars,
And actually all these Vishnu avatars,
they also come from Krishna.
they also come from Lord Krishna.
They go back to the
They go back to the
spiritual world,
spiritual world.
and the material universe is annihilated
When the,
on the
when the material universe is annihilated or wound up.
some devotees are so advanced they can see the Supreme Personality of it.
Some devotees are so advanced that they can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
And they can communicate with him.
And they can communicate with him.
So people stuck in this material world
So people stuck in this material world
not able to see Krishna originally.
are not able to see Krishna originally.
Gradually, as they advance, they can see him.
But gradually as they advance, they can see him.
Thank you for watching our videos. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.